Okay, so today we're going to have a look at some lead setups and how I like to attach the lead to my line and fish safely. There's lots of different ways out there, but these are some of the ways that I prefer to use and I feel helps me to fish safely. Okay, so to start off with, let's just have a look at the inline setup. This is the inline lead setup that I would use. I use it straight to my main line. Main line will come straight through here and literally feed through this rubber end here, straight out and tie onto this swivel here, which then attaches your rig to that just like so. Quite simple really, and very effective. And that just, obviously then your main line will come through there. Obviously your main line will come through here, out the bottom here, tie onto that swivel. I'd use half blood, feed back into there, and if your line was to snap, it's fine because this would just all fall apart and hopefully the fish would just simply be left with the hook, no weight on the end, which they'd hopefully be able to shake off then and be free of anything. A very, very effective way to do it. I also use this setup if I'm going to be using PVA bags, solid PVA bags, but then I'd use a stem such as this. I'd probably switch over to a flat pair as well, but just for demonstration we can use this. So on this setup I would loop to loop straight onto there with the rig because I wouldn't have any anti-tangle sleeve because it'd be in a PVA bag trying to minimize stuff, and then the main line would just tie simply onto here. And then once again, if you got caught up, that's just going to come free, it's going to go up the main line, and if the line snaps, that's going to fall off and the fish will just be left with this with the rig on the end. Very, very safe and a good way to be fishing. Now for our next setup, we're going to have a look at the lead clip system with a leader. You can buy these leaders already made up from multiple different places with multiple different brands. You know, it's just your personal choice when it comes to that. But this is how I have it. I'd have my main line tied to this end here. This simply comes down onto the lead with the rig there, as you can see. Very nice, tidy little setup there. And if this gets jammed up, this can actually come off and run completely freely up the leader and onto the main line. Also, if this was to get jammed up onto something, it should be able to just fall off. You know, so that will come out of there. When I'm putting these on here, give that a little bit of a moist and just push it on sort of halfway. Make sure it has lots of ease to come out. As I say, that will run straight up your line and fall off. And we're just attaching the rig to that the same way as before. You've just got the little hook there. Just slide it onto there and cover it up with the anti-tangle sleeve. A very, very safe and nice way to fish, I believe. I enjoy using this method a real lot. That's something I'd probably use if I was just single baiting or maybe out with a little PVA stocking or something like that. Good way to do it. Okay, the next way that we're going to look at attaching it is straight to the main line. Now you can get these little fellas just like this, which is pretty much the same as what we've got on here from the last one that we showed you, but with a slight difference on this one. I mean, you could incorporate that into this as well, but these have a little hole in here which you can fit a pin into, which will lock this, but we will show you that in just a second. So again, your main line is going to come straight through here, through this piece here. I'll feed that on first, then feed this piece, your main line, through this piece, and you're going to tie it on the end here. All knots and stuff like that, we have videos out for you guys, so don't worry about that. And then this little pin comes in handy because you can put this pin through this hole, and what this does is it just stops that coming out. So once we attach our rig, that swivel is not going to come out of there, which keeps it sort of locked into place. Obviously, again, as before, you know, we're wetting that up a little bit and we're only putting it on slightly with the lead. So if we get tangled up, it should be able to fall straight off like that, which then obviously leaves everything else very nice. But say for instance you actually wanted that running up your line, that is also not a problem. You just take that pin out and this will run up and down the line just like the other one. Another really good safe setup to have. And on this one here you can either go straight to your main line or you can back it up with some tubing, which also you'll thread your main line through, and then that will just tuck into the top there and be very nice. If you're going to use the tubing to help eliminate tangles, always remember your tubing must be much longer than your rig, otherwise you will get tangles up. And no breaks in your tubing at all, it's just another tangle factor. And if you're using braided mainline, then it is very necessary, really, I think, that you use the tubing just to save the fish's scales and their sides of the fish as the braid scrapes up against them. Now, here's another one that I like to use a hell of a lot. I'll use this with my troddies or any sort of stiff rig that I like to use. This is the helicopter system. It's a very good one. Now, this just locks on the end here through this sort of quick change swivel here. You can just take that off, on and off like that. Now you can get these on the heli-safe systems where they just pop off with the cast and that, but I kind of like it like that, if I'm honest. So, and then obviously your rig will be on here against the beads, and if the fish gets snagged up or caught up on anything, it's just going to pop off of there, and that will just fall off. And if the main line gets snapped, then that is all that the fish is left with, and this is just left on the bottom of the lake, obviously, not in the fish's mouth, and not attached to the fish, not distressing the fish out or causing any harm at all. So that's a quick look at some of the different lead setups that I like to use. What you must remember, guys, is having a lead tied straight to your line is not acceptable, really, and it's very, very dangerous for the fish and not good. There's lots of other setups out there. These are just some of the setups I like to personally use. We can go over some of the others in other videos, but that's a few demonstrations there of some really safe, really good lead systems to use. I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. Please like and subscribe if you have, and we'll see you in the next video. Keep on fishing, guys. Life's better on the bank.